Today on episode number 547 of the School of Podcasting, we've got a really cool Because of My Podcast story. There's a cool little contest we're running where you can earn free podcast consulting. I'm going to talk about why I'm deeming 2017 the year of action. And I believe you ordered one of these.
Good morning. This is your wake-up call.
Showtime. Hit it, ladies.
The School of Podcasting with Dave Jackson.
Podcasting since 2005. I am your very own personal podcast coach, Dave Jackson. Thanking you so very much for just taking the time out of your busy schedule, for kicking off 2017 with me in your ears. I really appreciate it. If you're brand new to the show, welcome aboard. Here's what we're going to do. I help you massage your message. I help you tackle that technology. I help you face your fears, flatten that learning curve, and get you on the road to a successful podcast. Our website is schoolofpodcasting.com. Are you ready to start? Go over to schoolofpodcasting.com/start. Use the coupon code LISTENER, that's LISTENER, and that will save on either a single course, or you can actually sign up for a monthly membership and get access to all of our courses. So glad that you are here. But yes, I'm deeming 2017 the year of action. And one action that you should be taking is going over and seeing Danny and Aaron Osment over at Emerald City Productions. They've been around since 2009. They're out of Tennessee. This is a professional. We're talking like the real deal professional recording studio. They do production, engineering, and editing. And if you're thinking about starting a podcast and you would like some help making your current show sound better, I mean, your ears are just going to go, when they hear your stuff. Or maybe you're just interested in voice coaching to improve your videos and webinars. Emerald City Productions will make you sound the best. Now, they have a special offer. If your podcast is under 30 minutes, the first 4 episodes are only $15 each. That's right, $15. That's it. Think about all the time you're going to save. And in that time, you can go out and actually promote the awesome sounding podcast. So now your listeners are going to be going, when they hear it. And then what happens after those first 4 episodes? That's right, goes up to $40. That's still pretty affordable. And again, think of all the time you're going to save. But there's more. That's right. What are they going to be doing? They're going to be adding your intro, your outro, any kind of advertisements you have. And then they're going to take out any mistakes you have. Not that you ever make any mistakes, of course, but you know, the ums, you knows, things like that. Do you need noise reduction? Any kind of balancing and dynamic processing or EQing, mastering, or encoding? That's right. By the end of it, you will have a completely done MP3 file, ID3 tags. It's all in there. And they also have free webinars. He does a free webinar every month. And by going to his site, you can sign up for the free webinar, and it discusses how to use the equipment that you currently have, as well as editing, mixing, and mastering, all that stuff. All you have to do, go over to emeraldcitypro.com/SOP. That's emeraldcitypro.com/SOP.
Happy New Year.
All right, if you're a regular listener to the show, I'm going to tell you right up front that this is kind of one for the newbies. And newbies is a really great term. If you're one of the persons that said, look, in 2017, I'm going to make a podcast, this podcast is for you. But I've got some new stuff. If you're a regular listener, hang tight. I've got some cool stuff. I do want to talk about your homework. And you're like, what? We just got here. That's right. We got homework. At the end of this month, that is January 2017, I will be doing an episode, and we're going to talk about your pet peeve. So even if you don't have a podcast, I'm really looking for you. And that is, what are the things that when you listen to a podcast, you just go, ugh, whatever it is, it just, ugh. And you tune out, you fast forward, you delete, whatever it is, it just makes you, ugh. I want to know it. Go over to schoolofpodcasting.com/contact. You can call it in, phone it in. I think there's a carrier pigeon. However you want to contact me, it's over there. schoolofpodcasting.com/contact. And just put in the subject line, ugh. I think it's UGGGH, or you could put pet peeve or whatever you want. But get that in before, let's see, what is the last Monday in January. That would be the 30th. So I'm going to need that by Friday the 27th. That'll give me the weekend to edit it. Again, let me know what your pet peeve or peeves are. Now, if you are a podcaster already, let me know a little bit about your show and your website, please. So again, schoolofpodcasting.com/contact, and I will be picking one of the people that submitted their story, and you will be winning a 20-minute consulting call. That's right, absolutely free. Just again, schoolofpodcasting.com/contact. Now, like I said, some of you, you're like, hey, 2017 is the year. In fact, some of you said 2016 was the year. Some of you even said 2015 was the year, and you've been planning to think about maybe starting the planning of the diagramming, of the whiteboarding, of the test group. Yeah. And you just never pulled the trigger. And so this show is kind of for you, but I do have some strategies. I have a new strategy that I've never talked about to get you to launch that first podcast. So first things first, what do you need to start a podcast? Dave, what do I need? What are we talking about here? Well, number one, you need an idea. You just need an idea. Then you need a microphone. You need a media host. And yes, a media host. Don't do this on your website. Now, do you need a website? Kind of optional, because most websites will give you a very, and by that I mean very basic website. So I strongly encourage you to get your own website. But if you're just sticking your toe in the water, you could start off with just your media host's website. You need some artwork for iTunes. So I would prefer you not do that in like Microsoft Paint, but you could. You need a description. So this podcast is about blah, blah, blah. And then if you're going to get into iTunes, you need one episode live. You cannot submit a show to podcast. You can't submit a show to iTunes without an episode in it. So that's what you need. Not really that much stuff. And I can't really get into equipment. I'm just going to say a microphone because different people need different things. Now, here's the strategy, though, that I'm recommending if you're a person that's been thinking about doing a podcast and you almost did, and then but I'm waiting for the, here's what you need to do. You ready for this? I'm going to call it Take the Mulligan. Now, I am not a golf player. My brother and I used to go out once a year. Now, my brother's a golf maniac, but I would go out once a year and I would end up hitting a goose or whatever. And this term, the mulligan, comes from golf. And it's basically when you hit a bad shot. And so it's like it ends up on like the other green, like you're on hole number 4 and you end up hitting it on the fairway of like hole number 3. That's a bad shot. And you just go, all right, I'm taking my mulligan, meaning I'm not even going to go get the ball. It's so far off the course. You drop a new ball and you swing again. It's basically a do-over. And so what I'm saying is this is how you get into podcasting. There are some very popular, very successful Hall of Fame podcasters. Mignon Fogherty of Grammar Girl, Lauria Petruci, who does Geek's Life, even Adam Curry, who helped invent podcasting. He didn't really hit pay dirt until he was on his 3rd podcast. He did the Daily Source Code. He did one about like the app of the day. And then now he's doing the No Agenda Show at noagendashow.com. Mignon Fogherty did one about, I think it was science before she did Grammar Girl, and Lauria Petruci before she did Geek's Life. There was Geek Beat. Before that was Geek something else. So she's gone through a few different brands of her show, meaning you don't have to hit it out of the park on the very first one. Here's my advice. Take a mulligan. Start a podcast about anything. And I mean anything. You could do a podcast about the weather in your city. Think about that one in a second. That's a really dumb idea. But you could do, today it's 35 and snowy here in Ohio. But by doing that, by podcasting about anything, you could care less if anybody even likes it. You basically go through the tech. You know what kind of image you need. You'll get to the other side of this and go, really? That's it? Yeah. If I had a nickel for everybody that has told me, seriously, that's it? Yeah, you're in iTunes. There you are. See it? Yeah. But I mean, what do I do now? Well, that's it. Now you just record another episode. So go out and just make a podcast about anything and take your mulligan on purpose and then delete the files and go back and go, okay, well, now I got that. Now that I'm over that whole weird fear of, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. Well, now you know what you're doing. Take your mulligan, delete all the files, delete the website, and do one again. Now, I say this because when I played in bands, we would go in to record like a demo. And often the best recordings were the one where we would go in and we would say, hey, we're just going to do a quick sound check we're going to go through the song, but don't record this. This is just for a sound check. Make sure you can get the levels. There was no pressure. We were just doing a sound check. And with no pressure, we often would come up with like the best take of the song ever. And we'd get done and we're like, oh man, that was perfect. Why didn't we record that? And luckily, in some cases, you would have an engineer go, no, okay, cool. We're just doing a sound check. And they'd record it anyway, which was always awesome because you'd say, well, let's go ahead and record another one anyway. It was never as good as the first one because it had that spontaneity. It had that non-pressure. Sometimes that record light makes you really freak out. And so if you start off with a show that you don't care about, because it's a mulligan, it's never gonna, who's gonna listen to a show about the weather? You can get that down, and the beauty of it is, you're gonna find out that it really doesn't take that much to publish a show. Getting it into iTunes and stuff, that's the easy part. Getting people to listen to it, that's the harder part. And I know what you're saying, but wait a minute, Dave, this stuff isn't free. What about the expense? Well, I have a bachelor's degree in education, specializing in technical education from the University of Akron. And here's the thought. Just the books. I went to their website to see like how things are over at the good old U of A. And just the books for a semester, which is about 3 months, give or take, $450. The actual classes, the part where you go to the instructor thing, $5,473 for a semester. And so when I talk about starting a podcast and spending somewhere between, $100 to $300, those startup fees are for a lifetime. That is a small investment compared to college. Now, moving forward, you'll be spending probably around $30 a month. So all you have to do is cut out a few sodas and some Snicker bars, and you've got money to fund your podcast. And keep in mind, the money you are spending is an investment in you. In the same way that college is an investment in your future, podcasting can really be an investment in you. And you're like, wait a minute, how do you figure? Well, here's some things that, like, if you're going, Dave, why should I start a podcast? What am I going to get out of this? Well, number one, these are the people that either should be or reasons why you should start a podcast. So if you're right now yelling at the dashboard in your car and going, you know what? I could do this show so much better. My buddy Daniel J. Lewis from the Audacity to Podcast, the reason he started a podcast about podcasting is he said, you know what? I got other things that need to be said that nobody in the podcasting area are doing. He was like, hey, he was a guy that was probably shouting at his dashboard. Not so much that he could do it better, but he had other things. This is what, people are missing pieces. And it's because you have that experience and you have those insights that other people don't. Well, then you should start a podcast because people need to hear your side of the story too. Now, here's some other reasons, some benefits. You're going to be seen as an expert, whether you want to be or not. You want to reach a global audience? You're going to reach a global audience. My very first audio feedback came from a guy in Germany. You want to build a community? This is a great way because there's no spam in podcasting. So the only people that are listening are going to be people who want your content. You're going to build that community. If you're a person who wants to kind of sharpen their speaking skills, this is a great way to do it. You're doing a presentation every single week or twice a week or however often you're doing it, once a month. It's your way of practicing that. And Pat Flynn, who's a super duper successful guy, has said that he basically attaches a lot of his success in public speaking to being more confident because of his podcast. Let's say you want to build your brand. That's an easy way to do it. You want to promote your products. Podcasting will do that. You want to boost your speaking career. I've actually been playing with Speaker Match. If you go to schoolofpodcasting.com/speaker match, and that's just MATCH, it's an interesting place that gives you ideas, different places where you can go get gigs as a speaker. And the beauty of it, in fact, let me go to my Because of My Podcast story. Check this out. And then we'll go back to why should you start a podcast? Because this ties in nicely here. This is from Edward O'Donnell. And he does a show called, I just had it in front of me, In the Past Lane. I'll put links to this out in the show notes at schoolofpodcasting.com/547. He says, because of his podcast, I've been able to interview Pulitzer Prize winning historians about their latest work, history. He says, this is a total nerdapalooza, right? So he's loving it. He says, check this out. My day job, where he works at a college, just built me a new state-of-the-art podcast studio. He goes, it's not just for me, of course, but because I was up and running as a podcaster, it spurred them to do it. He's been invited by Chris Krimitsos to be part of Podfest 2017. If you don't have your ticket for Podfest, it's podfest.us. This is a great conference. That's coming up. Podcast Movement is coming up in 2017. If you use the coupon code SOP10 for Podcast Movement, that'll save you some money off that ticket. I believe if you use the coupon code DAVE at Podfest, that'll save you on that. I am the closing keynote at Podfest. That's in Orlando, Florida, 2017, in February, right around the corner. Buy your tickets today. I'm telling you, that is an awesome conference. But check this out. Edward says, I snared an audition for a new program on the History Channel, in part because they checked out my podcast and seemed convinced that I'd be funny and free-spirited and not just knowledgeable about history. So he wasn't just knowledgeable, he was entertaining. He says, and if anything comes of this, it will certainly be because of my podcast. So he's going to keep me posted. So Ed, keep me posted on that, buddy. But I mean, there's some examples of speaking gigs, opportunities, because opportunities come based on the people that know you. And the more people that know you, the more opportunities show up. So there's an example of talking about boosting your speaking career. If you want to, again, find like-minded people. And in some cases, once you get an audience, you can actually make some additional money. So that's something to think about this. Now, how do you what if you go, Dave, I get the mulligan thing. I get it. But what if I actually don't want to take what if I actually want to take a real swing at this? Well, you've probably heard about this. SMART goals. And I'm just going to go over this briefly. In fact, I just went through some material, and we're going to talk about this here in a second, since 2017 is the year of action. Oh, I want to do that. Like, I want to go to a drive-thru and go, I would like a hamburger and some fries, please, just to see how people would do that. But it stands for specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. So if you say, well, I want to start a podcast in 2017, I would say, no, that's not going to do it. Now, if you say, I want to start a podcast about raising llamas, that's right. And I think there actually is one, believe it or not. This is a little more specific. So we're on the right track, but we need a little more specific on what you're doing and when you're going to do it. So if you said, I will Google other llama podcasts to see what names might be available by January 15th. Now we're specific. Now there's a verb in there. In this case, we're using Google as a verb, and we have a time. Because if you don't add a time element to it, how do you know if you're ahead or behind schedule? Now, Michael Hyatt is one of my favorite authors, and every January, including this one, I read the book Platform. And again, I'll have links to this out in the show notes, schoolofpodcasting.com/547. He also has a course called Best Year Ever. And I didn't do it this year, but I did do 2015 and 2016. And he threw in 2 more items. So instead of having SMART goals, Michael has SMARTer goals. And so there's an E and an R, and the E stands for exciting. And that is whatever goal you set for yourself, because this doesn't always have to pertain to podcasting. This can be for anything. It's got to be something that excites you. Because if you go, in his example, he says, if you're a marathon, you say, I'm going to run a marathon, but you hate solo sports. Well, that's not going to excite you. So if you go, all right, I'm going to set a goal to write 300 words or 1,000 words for show notes, but you hate writing, that's not really a great goal. Maybe your goal should be look up somebody like Carrie Green or Daryl Darnell or somebody who does show notes and think about outsourcing that, right? That might excite you. So the E is exciting, because if it's not exciting, I think one of my favorite concerts, I think I've told you this story before, Sammy Hagar Civic Theater in Akron, Ohio, and he came out and started playing all these covers. He was playing The Who and Zeppelin. He said, look, man, if I'm bored, we're all screwed. So and that's the case. If you're bored about this goal, you're not going to do it. And then the last one is relevant. And I'm not sure he really needed this one because to me, realistic and relevant are very similar. But if you say, I'm going to do a daily show, that's not really relevant to your life if you already have 2 jobs, a wife, and a twin, right? Like twin meaning not your twin, but you have twins would be a better way of saying that. That's not really relevant to your life to say, yep, I'm going to do a daily show with 2 jobs, a wife, and the twins. Carrie and Cassidy, right? You're not doing a daily show. I don't think so, at least. So that's not relevant to your life. So by adding the exciting and relevant, you get smarter goals. So think about this. And really the first thing you need is just an idea. And that's one of the first things you have to figure out is what's the name? Because when you get the name, then you can start working on the artwork and finding a domain for it. So if you go over to schoolofpodcasting.com/baby steps, that's schoolofpodcasting.com/baby steps. You're like, look, I don't want to just jump in. I don't want to run into anything. I just want to take it nice and slow. Schoolofpodcasting.com/baby steps. And you'll actually get a free video course where I will walk you through step by step what you have to do for the planning of your podcast. Now, it's not quite as detailed. You're not going to get all the worksheets and things that I do for the planning your podcast course, but there's a big chunk of the planning your podcast that you're going to get for free. All you got to do, go to schoolofpodcasting.com/baby steps. So we know how to make a goal. We know what a good goal looks like. And you might be saying, but Dave, you don't understand. Hold on a second. I'm not really sure exactly what format I want to do this in. Well, here's the thing. I've said this before. Your podcast is a recipe. It's not a statue. You can change it. You really can. Nobody's going to punch you in the face. Right, Ryan?
No one will punch you in the face.
Ryan K. Parker from foodcraftsman.com. Also, Ryan just got some ink in a magazine, in a cooking magazine. So there's a little bonus because of my podcast story. And I know you might be saying, I hate my voice. This is normal, by the way. We all hate our voice. And it's because when you listen to yourself for the first time, you're not listening with the additional vibrations through your skull. It's kind of weird, but it's true. We actually listen through our skull as well. So it sounds different. You might be saying, Dave, I'm not a nerd. Well, if you can attach a file to an email, if you've ever had to turn down the car volume, like on the radio, when you're in the car, phone rings, right? You reach up, turn down the volume, then you know how to mix audio. You've pressed record on your DVR, so you know file management, you know audio mixing, and you know recording. I know a lot of people go, oh, I don't want to look stupid though. Well, here's the cool thing. It's not radio. It's not live. The only way you're going to sound stupid is if you put something out there that, well, lets you sound stupid. And I know you might be saying, but Dave, I'm really worried about people saying negative things. Can I tell you something that you probably don't want to know? Remember last week when you went to the grocery store? Somebody was probably judging you. They were looking at your shoes or your hair or your coat or the fact that you got in front of them in line. People judge you every day. When you drive and you hear that behind you, they're judging the way you drive, and yet you still drive. There's a great movie out now called Sing, and there's a line in it that says, don't let your fear stop you from doing the thing you love. So with that, now to think about it, don't let your fear stop you from doing the thing you love. Because here's the thing. I did math on this once. It was something like 0.0003 of the things on iTunes. The reviews are the 0.0003. I think it was 3 zeros are negative. So 99% of everything I've gotten has been positive. And here's something else to think about it, right? We just had Christmas or whatever you celebrated here. Have you ever given somebody a gift and you go, oh, I'm not sure if they're going to like this, but you did it anyway, right? Your podcast is a gift. You gave it to them anyway. What happens? They can take it back. Well, it's free. What are they going to do? They're not going to punch you in the face, and you can change it. It's not a statue. And here's a little truth. We worry about those. Oh, but I don't want to look stupid in front of 1,000 people. Can I be brutally honest with you right now? When you start, nobody's listening. I mean, like nobody, like 20 people. So it's okay. Because those 20 people, you're never probably going to meet. It's okay. So just chill on that, all right? Now, don't think about those thousands of people. Think about this. Right now, I am talking to you. Yeah, look around. Right. It's just me and you. So don't think about the 1,000 people, because it's just me and you. And think about this. While helping one person, that may not change the world. It could change the world for that one person, though. Maybe you make them laugh. Maybe you make them cry. I just watched a movie on Amazon about this guy who has ALS. He was a guy for the New Orleans Saints. I'm trying to find it. He said really quick because I'm calling a tangent as I record this. The movie was called Gleason, and it's about this guy who has Lou Gehrig's disease, is what we usually call it. I think it's I want to say ALS, ACLS, ALS. I think it is. And this is this is my worst nightmare. If I ever got this disease, because where there's two scary movies now. One is the Glenn Campbell movie that shows him through Alzheimer's losing his brain, but his body's fine. This is the direct opposite. This is your brain is perfectly fine. You just eventually can't move and you suffocate to death. And I was like, oh, holy crap, do I not want to get that disease? Scared the bejesus out of me. Really inspiring, though, the way this guy, his life is just torture, but he wants to stick around for his son. It's an amazing story. Made me cry like a baby through that whole thing. So you can make people laugh. You can make people cry. You can make people think. You can make people be entertained. You might make people forget about the crap that they've had the worst day ever at work on their way home. That could be you. You could impact someone in a positive way. So don't think about the thousands of people that you might or might not be affecting. So I went around and got up some quotes. So these are some things a couple of things I haven't talked about this in this topic, but this is one of my favorite ones. You don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start if you're going to be great. And that's Zig Ziglar. Zig, yeah, from, I always thought Zig sounded a little bit like Jimmy Stewart. Well, there's that time, Zuzu. Here's something. Think about this. Has there ever been something that you wanted, but you've never had it? This is from Thomas Jefferson. When you want something you've never had, you have to do something you've never done. When you want something you've never had, you have to do something you've never done, because it ain't going to be given to you. At least not in the world I live in. Here's one. The distance between dreams and reality is called action. And that's what we're talking about today. Action. 2017, of course, is the year of action. And here's one. Don't wait until you're ready to take action, because let's face it, you're never ready. Do you know people, most of us, I know people that are parents, and in many cases, it wasn't exactly planned. Now, in many cases it is, but even if it's planned and you get that little baby home and you're like, oh, holy cow, now what? You figure it out. So but what do? You take action and you read books and you babyfy everything. You take action so you're ready. So don't wait until you're ready to take action. Instead, take action to be ready. And that is just from some guy named Jensen. I'm going to say Saw, S-I-A-W. And then this is an unknown one. Don't talk, just act. Don't say, just show. And don't promise, just prove. I like that one. This is another one. Winners are not people who never fail. That one again. Winners are people who never fail, but people who never quit. I mean, I have been trying to lose weight for the better part of 3 or 4 years. And it wasn't until last year that talk about I wanted something I hadn't. When you want something you've never had, you have to do something you've never done. So what did I do last year that allowed me to lose 30 pounds? I drank 80 ounces of water and I gave up Mountain Dew. I did not have a Mountain Dew in 2016. That is unheard of. Because I had people that used to buy me Mountain Dew for Christmas. because I was just a Mountain Dew guy. I'm just saying. Here's another one. An inch of movement will bring you closer to your goals than a mile of intention. This is the year that you got to quit thinking about it. This is the year that you just got to quit thinking about it, because the best time to start a podcast was like in 2004. The second best time to start a podcast is right now, because otherwise, eventually, you're going to be like that guy in, I don't know, 98 who didn't want to get a fax machine. I'm just saying, the best way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. Who said that? The one and only Walt Disney. So again, we're talking about this because 2017 is the year of action for me. And think about this. Attraction, satisfaction, I can't get no, interaction, reaction, and traction. These are all things, of course, that end in, hey, that's right, action, satisfaction, interaction, right? You want to interact with your audience, interaction, reaction, you want them to react, right? Laugh, cry, think, groan, entertain, educate. And maybe you want to get some traction with your brand. Those all require action. And that's, I just want to scream that. Action. Take action. And this is what stops most people. I know about you, I am not a big fan of exercise. I'm not a big fan, especially of lifting weights. But once I start lifting weights, I'm okay. It's the walk over to the gym. It's the just everything but. And in fact, I'll give you let's peel back the curtain a second here. When I'm speaking, I don't have any problem when I'm, making the slides and doing everything else. It's when I have to be introduced. It's during, while this nice person on stage is saying all sorts of nice things about me, I'm wetting my pants. It's right there. That's when I'm like, and what's weird about this, right? Because I'm like, okay, because I'm like, at that point I'm going, have I done everything I could do? And the answer is always yes. I've practiced it 5 million times. But when that person is going, and Dave Jackson, School of Podcasting in 2005, I'm like, and the blood leaves my hands. If you ever shake my hand after a presentation, there's no blood in my hands are always ice cold. Don't know why that is. But here's the thing. Once I start talking, I'm fine. Once I actually start, I'm fine. And so, you hear it week after week, people giving me because of my podcast stories. So today I urge you to start something right now. Why? Because your future self will thank you. I have been doing this. I will celebrate 12 years in podcasting this year. And the friends that I have, the opportunities that have come my way, yes, the extra money that has come my way. And if you don't want to make any money with your podcast, that's fine. But do something that your future self will go, oh man, I'm so glad I listened to Dave. Stop worrying about what could be wrong and start focusing on what could go right. Again, don't let your fear decide your future. I mean, last year, it seems weird to say this, I'm not a big horse person. My only horse kind of interaction came with riding a horse that would only trot, that about broke my back. Meanwhile, the horse in front of me had lots of flatulence problems. It's not a great thing. And they're big. They can break bones. And last year, at the end of the year, over at Glenn the Geek's house from Horse Radio Network, I fed a horse. And it was interesting because why did I do that? Because it really wasn't that hard. And you know why? Because I had a mentor. I had somebody there who knew exactly what they were doing. And Glenn and Jen were there. In this case, it was Jen. And she did this whole thing where she brought the horse out to where he like kind of chilled out. And then you do this. And then she explained exactly what to do. She showed me what to do. She showed how to, don't stick it this way. Don't do this, do that. So I avoided all the mistakes. And you know what? That little scooter horse just ate it right out of my hand. And that's what I'm here for you for. To say, no. When you find a forum, don't go in there and start talking about your podcast. You'll get banned. You'll be listed as a spammer. Now, what do you do if you're saying to yourself, but I'm just a whatever. I'm just a accountant. I'm just a whatever. Maybe you don't have a job right now. I've been in that boat. What you do is not who you are. For years, I used to say I was a grocery bagger, but really I'm a musician. One is what I did. The other one was who I am. Right? And then when I was a tech support person, I would say, well, I'm tech support, but really I'm a whatever. So for me, it's like, well, I'm a tech support person, but really I'm a messenger. If I go back to the documentary that I've been working with, right? One is what you do. The second one is who you are. And I think we all have a message. I think we all have something to say because there are people who could benefit from it. And so sometimes, unfortunately, the worst place to live is in your head because life really begins at the end of your comfort zone. And so I talked about the movie Gleason. And I'm actually going to play, technically, probably an illegal clip. But I want to play this. The idea here is, think about this. You get diagnosed, and they're going to say, basically, somewhere in the next 2 to 5 years, you're going to die when your body just quits working. Oh, by the way, your brain's going to be fine. Meanwhile, this guy, his wife is pregnant. So he starts recording just blog posts, like video blogs, for his unborn child. And he's trying to pass along his knowledge. And so this is a clip, and his voice is a little, he's starting to lose his speech here, but this is one of the lessons that he leaves for what would eventually be his son.
Rivers, I want to talk about obstacles and adversity. No matter what, how wealthy you are, how poor you are, we all face adversity. I do not want you to fail, but I want you to put yourself out there and available for potential rejection in ways. I think that's how we succeed, because that's how we grow, and that's how we gain perspective.
Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. And I just urge you to take action. And you know what? You might end up with a mulligan. It might go right in the pond. And you're going to go, yeah, that's okay. Because think about it. I'll give you an example going back to college. My first degree was in electronic engineering. And halfway through that degree that I was paying for myself as a waiter, I knew the last thing I wanted to be was an electronic engineer. And so I went to my guidance counselor and they said, well, you could also be a technician. I'm like, okay, you could fix stuff. All right, good, got it. But I knew right there, I was like, ugh, this is not what I thought it was going to be. Well, okay. Luckily that had some freedom to allow me to do other things. So to kind of wrap this up, if you're really having a hard time just pulling the trigger, but you know this is something you want to do, that is the person that I say, hey, you know what? Take a mulligan. Just start a podcast about anything. I don't recommend that for everybody, but if that's you and you've been struggling for over, let's say, 6 months, then take a mulligan. Just do anything, go through the motions, and you'll see on the other side of that, hey, you know what? This isn't that hard. Then you can go back and start your, quote, real show. Now, if you're ready to do that, go over to schoolofpodcasting.com/start. Use the coupon code LISTENER, that's LISTENER, and you can use that on a single course or on a monthly membership, or the best value is the yearly membership. If you really want this to be the year of podcasting for you, go over and sign up for a yearly membership. But it's showtime, it's go time, it's Larry, Curly, and Mo time. It's the only thing I could think of that would rhyme. Anyway, let's go. I'm ready for you. I think the immortal David Lee Roth was the man that said, I've got a 2-word plan. Let's go. All right. Now, here's the thing that's going to sound really weird, but if you've ever wondered about my integrity, one of the actions I'm going to be doing this year is making smart decisions. And let me give you an example of this. I want you to join the School of Podcasting. I've never hidden that fact. You know, this is a I provide information, but really my goal is I'm trying to convince you to join the School of Podcasting, and I'm also trying to help you make really good content. And one of the things I did last year is I joined a bunch of different membership sites so I could see what it was like, learn different strategies, get a different view on different technology, things of that nature. But there was one thing that I didn't do. And that is, in many cases, I didn't consume hardly any of the content. And so one of the reasons why I'm saying that this year is the year of action is because if you're like, okay, Dave, you know what? You convinced me. I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to say, all right, but hold on a second. I also want you to write on your calendar. I don't know if it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I don't care if it's Tuesday, Thursday, or what. I want you to write on the calendar and circle it off. This is the time I'm going to go through Dave's stuff. Whether it's a single course or a monthly membership, you want to go through all the 16, 17 courses that we have. It doesn't do any good to sign up if you're not going to go through the stuff. And if you're not going to take, again, action. And so I'm looking at some of these courses that I signed up for. I'll give you an example. I signed up for lynda.com. And there was one class, I think I was getting brushed up on some stuff. And lynda.com is a great resource. And but I'm going to tell you, at least the last 10 months of the year, I don't think I looked at a single course. And so I'm probably going to cancel that. Or I'm going to go back and look and say, I should look at this one and this one and that one. And I'm going to put those on the calendar. And I'm going to take action. I'm part of Social Media Examiner's, I forget what their thing is, but that's another membership site. Lots of great content, but I pop in and out of there about every other month. It doesn't do any good. Knowledge is only power when you act on it. And so it's like having a library card, never going to the library. What's the point? You got to take action. So that is something that I'm going to be doing this year. Is I'm really going to be focusing on not just going, if we use the analogy of, right, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. I got to drink. And I want to take that information that I then get and put it into action. That's the key. Because I found some really cool places and I've got some pretty good deals. Some of those were Black Friday stuff. And I've saved some money on those, but I'm wasting that money if I'm not going to take that knowledge and put it into action. So that's what I'm going to start really like putting it on the calendar. I'm just going to have a particular night. It might be Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever it is. And it's just going to say, knowledge or learn or classes or whatever it is. And I'm going to start writing those in, right? Because it has to be specific. So I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to go back and review the Facebook ads on Social Media Examiner. And that's not the name of the thing. I forget what they call it. Social Media, something. Michael Stelzner, you know the guy. Maybe they have stuff like that on lynda.com. But I need to figure out what this is because I'm just burning my money. So that's my advice to you. Now, I know I got you all like hot and bothered about it. I want to start a podcast. And I'm like, okay, but I don't want you to waste your money. I want serious people to join the School of Podcasting, and I'm asking you because you can do a lot in an hour. You can do a lot in a half hour because all these different tutorials that I have are usually like 5 to 10 minutes long, if that. I know by the time you hear this, I should have my Hindenburg course out. And most of those are like 2 minutes. There's a bunch of them, but they're all like 2 minutes long. And that way, if you have to start and stop, you can go right in the middle. You're not in the middle of a 15-minute video. So when you sign up, take some time and rope off some time on your calendar so that you can actually go through and put this information into action. It's the time of gathering more information is that's not very good. I used to have a friend of mine that I go into a video store and I will start looking at potential movies. And when I find one that I want to watch, I stop and I get the movie and I go home and I watch it. And I'm not making this up. I'm pretty sure I could go and watch that movie and bring it back. This was back in the days of the Blockbuster world. And that person would still be in the video store, because I swear they looked at every new arrival movie, whatever, so they could make an informed decision. And I'm all about informed decisions. But on the other hand, when you have enough information to know what you want and do what you want to do, and still don't take, you're wasting time reading another book or listening to another podcast that says the best microphone is the Audio-Technica ATR 2100. How many times do you need to hear that? How many times do you need to hear that you can get a free month at Libsyn using the coupon code SOP free? You can get a free month at Blueberry using the coupon code SOP free. You can get a free month at Podbean using the coupon code SOP free. You can get a free month at Spreaker using the coupon code SOP free. Those are my 4 recommendations, and those recommendations are not my recommendations because they give me free stuff. That's people that I've worked with for years. But microphone, done. Hosting, done. Website, done. Pull the trigger and go. I'm telling you, your future self will thank you. I hope I have inspired you to start a podcast. If you are a person that already has a podcast, but knows other people that should be starting a podcast, did you know that I have an affiliate program for the School of Podcasting? That's right. You can actually earn money referring people to the School of Podcasting. If you go to schoolofpodcasting.com/affiliates, there's more information about that. And that commission is for every month that they stay subscribed. That's not a one-time thing. So schoolofpodcasting.com/affiliates. And don't forget that I'm dying to hear what makes you go, ugh, your pet peeves. Whatever they are, we're going to be picking one person to get a free 20-minute consulting call. Go to schoolofpodcasting.com/contact and send in what makes you go, ugh, when you listen to a podcast. And we'll be playing those the last week of this month. So I need those in by January 27th, 2016, so that I can get them to you. That'll be the last episode, I believe, on the 30th of the month. So thanks so much for tuning in. Happy New Year. 2017 again is the year of action. And I'm taking action by making sure I'm taking time to educate myself and then use that education on something that's going to be useful. It's going to help grow my show. It's going to help give me more audience. It's going to help me make better content. And one of the things, so if you go, wait a minute, Dave, and this is the last thing I'm wrapping this up with. I know I just did my calls to actions, but I'm doing I'm calling an audible. One of the things I'm doing, can I give you, peel back the curtain here? One of the reasons I'm doing this whole contest thing, yes, I want the information of what makes people go, ugh, but the really thing that I'm interested in, I want that 20-minute consultation. Not because I'm hoping that it leads to more consultation. That might happen. Who knows? I want to talk to you. One of my actions that I'm doing this year is I want to find more ways to talk to you. One-on-one at conferences, wherever it is. So if you're going to PodFest, I'm going to be at the Libsyn booth. Come and see me. If you're at Podcast Movement and you see me at the booth, come down and see me. But what happens between those conferences? I want to talk to more of you, so I know that I'm on track, so that I know I'm talking about the things that you want to hear about. My goal is to get more of you involved in this show. Next week, I'll probably have a survey for you to fill out. So you're going to hear a lot of stuff where I'm asking you to take action, right? Whether it's, leaving an statement or a survey. And these are all going to have, I'm going to be giving carrots away, not actual carrots, but Amazon cards, free consulting, whatever it is, because I want more interaction with you. I get plenty, email, things like that, but I want to find out what's going on with you. I spend, 30 to 40 minutes a week here talking about what's going on with me. What's going on with you? And I'm going to pull a page out of Lee Silverstein. We're going to have people, if you know somebody who you think would be a good guest, let me know. I'm going to pull that right out of Lee's page. I'm like, that's a cool idea. And so you'll see one of the things that's going to happen hopefully by the end of the quarter, I want to do a redo of my website. but that will be after Podfest. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening. I have a lot of things that I want to do. They're all going to be like post-February because Podfest is going to be my major, my keynote address is going to have a lot of my attention until then. So that's what's going on behind the scenes with that, is I'm really looking forward to having one-on-one conversations with my audience. I do that every week with Ask the Podcast Coach, but this is more intimate. It's just me and you with nobody listening. So I'm looking forward to that. So thanks so much for listening. Again, schoolofpodcasting.com/start. Use the coupon code LISTENER, and I hope to see you on the inside. Thanks so much. Until next week, class is dismissed. I hope to see you on the inside. I was thinking about that today. It's going to be very hard for me to have if I start dating women again, it's cool that it's like Glenn and Jen because they rhyme. There are no female names that end in Ave. You know what I mean? That's going to be hard to have it's Dave and Schmave or something. That's just not going to work.